Welcome inside T-Mobile Arena. Brett Okamoto alongside Chael Sonnen, Dominick Cruz, Anthony Smith. UFC 320 is in the books. Alex Pereira told us he wasn't himself back in March. Chael Sonnen told me he didn't believe him going into this fight. Do you believe him now, Chael, that that was not the real Alex Pereira that we saw back in March?
This is not how sport is done. Any sport, the Lakers, the Celtics, any way that you want to do it. You do not lose to somebody and 5 months later flip the script this overwhelmingly. He believed in himself. And by the way, I was irritated with one thing, which is I didn't feel that Pierre was calling for this fight. I didn't see it. I spoke to Dana White yesterday. He said, Chael, that was only publicly. Behind the scenes, he was demanding this fight. He didn't think he was himself. He didn't want to make excuses, but he wanted the rematch. And yes, to your question, I believe it now.
He had a lot of losses in kickboxing and never made one, but for some reason he chose this time to make one. I don't know why. I believed him, and I think he proved. I think he proved himself right that he wasn't 100%, and he looked incredible tonight. Yeah,
incredible is the right word. And I was expecting a little bit of a different version, of course, but the way that he almost ran out of his corner, and I think back to the year that he had in 2024. Then he loses in March, and you're kind of wondering where does he go from here. This just completely throws him back into that aura that he was in 2024. I think he's a bigger star. Definitely a bigger star after tonight.
I love that you brought that up. I mean, him and O'Malley have been bouncing back who the biggest star is, right? I'm taking Conor out because he's not currently licensed, but just to share with you, this fight was not the most anticipated fight of 2025, but I will tell you, coming out of this arena, I have had the great pleasure of standing here for 7 years with ESPN. I have never heard an arena the way that I heard them tonight. I have never heard a reaction. By the way, he got praised when he came in. They were booing Ankalaev. I mean, they got the fans. He's got this guy eating out their hands. He's 37 years old. He's a middleweight, by the way. He's not any bigger now than when he was the middleweight champion. I'm still big on the idea of eventually seeing him at heavyweight. I got to tell you, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I am very high on Pierre right now.
Yeah, Dom, I mean, Chael just said it. This was not really built, even though it was a rematch and there was some anticipation over, how real was this Alex Pereira thing, how beat up was he in the first one. This was not considered a big blockbuster fight, but he took this opportunity, and the way he ran out there with it. Were you surprised, I guess, when he came out with the authority and the confidence that he did after what happened in March?
I don't think I was surprised that he did it. I think I was surprised the first fight that he didn't do it, because that is the recipe of him. He has to move forward. When you move forward on somebody who wants to grapple you, they are on their back foot and they can't wrestle you anymore. And so what he did is he took the wrestling out of the thought process against Ankalaev by pressuring him and putting him in a box. And now he's just got a striking battle, which is what Pereira is good at. And he made it that, and he forced the fight to be his style. And that's how the first fight should have gone. But now we're hearing he was messed up, and I believe that he was pretty messed up, judging by that performance.
I think something that gets missed all the time, because he's so violent and the finishes are so crazy, he is such an educated striker. He is so smart. His fight IQ is very, very high. After having 25 minutes with Ankalaev, I was only in there with Ankalaev for one whole round and then a little bit of the second. And I felt like if I went back and did that again, I feel like I would do it differently. He had 25 minutes of content with the educated striking game that he has. I wasn't surprised that he pushed him back. I was surprised that he ran into the fire like that, because he usually kind of starts slow.
They're now 1-1. If we were to accept what happened in the previous fight, we would be discussing a trilogy. We're not. We're even looking at Prochazka, who's 0-2. Who got beat up for 2 rounds tonight. We're discussing that he goes in. The reason I share that, well, we did not ask for this fight. Dana White said, I want the 2 right guys to fight. These are the 2 right guys. Dana himself saw something that he thought perhaps wasn't right, and we get this rematch, and all of a sudden Pierre goes out and delivers what he says. As the older fighter, I can't tell you a time off the top of my head where an older fighter came back and beat a younger fighter.
It has been a big 7-8 days for the 205-pound division. We're going to be talking about this 205-pound division a lot because obviously what happened in the main event. Earlier in the night, of course, you had Khalil Rountree and Yuri Prochazka. You got a former champion in Prochazka. You got a former title challenger in Khalil Rountree. And oh my gosh, we got plenty of highlights to show. Dom, what were you thinking as you watched this play out?
Well, the first round, it was very scary looking for Prochazka. His hands looked lower than normal. He wasn't bringing them back to his face when he was entering into the zone of fire. But then as the rounds kept going on, you started to see the puzzle that Prochazka is show up. It was harder for Khalil to find him. Khalil started being on his back foot. He couldn't throw as much power. And the power that Khalil wanted to fight got nullified by the weird, awkward movements, and he couldn't read him and he couldn't time him. And then it got heavier and heavier for Khalil Rountree to deal with that. So Prochazka showed up the way he has in the past, the way we knew he could, but he actually showed up for himself more than anybody.
Well, surprise, surprise, that was fight of the night. It also got a performance bonus, so a double bonus there for Yuri Prochazka. Very well deserved. And, you know, we're talking about this 205-pound division, and you got to get wins to get a title fight. And we were even saying maybe wins won't be enough. You got to make statements. Statements have been made over the last 8 days. You got Yuri Prochazka winning tonight, and then Carlos Ulberg last week in Perth, Australia, getting the job done. First round knockout. He caught up with Magomed Ankalaev backstage, out there trying to get himself a title fight.
I'm backstage with Carlos Ulberg. Carlos, the main event just ended. Alex Pereira is the champion. Once again, what were your expectations for that main event? And then what were your thoughts once you saw it play out?
Yeah, that was exactly what I expected for Pereira to come in and do what he does, which is come in and dominate. And he had some blood. He came in for some blood. And that's exactly what he did.
Tell me why you believe you should be next in line for the title and not someone like Yuri Prochazka who believes he's the rightful contender.
I will fight anyone. I fight anyone. And whether it be Pereira for the title or anyone, my understanding is that Pereira may look to go upwards. He's done his dues here, and I know that, but I'll fight him. I'll fight whoever else is next. I'm on a nine fight win streak, and there's no one else out there for me, so I believe I'm next.
What would a matchup look like between the two of you?
It'll be electric for sure, 100%. I think both of us will be going out for a knockout, and I think it's a fight for the fans.
Excellent. Well, listen, we look forward to seeing how it all plays out. Carlos, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Guys?
Chael, you were known to deliver a soundbite in your day. How do you think he did there trying to get himself the title fight over Yuri Prochazka?
He's a surprisingly handsome guy, but I got to tell you, he really missed the mark on that. He said, I'll fight anybody, and I don't care who it is, and they can just call me, and that's why I think I should fight Pierre. It's like, wait a minute. We can't discuss the whole field and then zero in on one guy. Let me tell you something that is greatly in Ulberg's favor, though. I think that Pereira's opinion matters, and if I was Pereira, I'm going to want some parity. I've done the Prochazka thing. As a matter of fact, I've done it twice. As a matter of fact, guys, it's kind of wrong that you'd call and ask me to do it a third time. I think that argument is eventually going to be made for Pereira, and I think it's going to be a strong argument. I think it's going to be the number one thing helping Ulberg to get the fight. That interview is not on the hard date, though.
Dom, looking at you know, we live in a sport and a world where whatever happened latest is what's most important. But you rewatch that highlight. Carlos Ulberg was extremely impressive against Dominick Reyes. Stylistically, which fight are you more interested in?
Well, I mean, I think Ulberg in the match with Pereira is a good read just because of the striking battle. We don't have anybody with that type of precision striking since Khalil Roundtree, because even Prochazka has a different style. And with the hands down, it's easy for Pereira to land. But when you look at Ulberg, he moves his feet a lot. He's got that good check hook. He stays off the center line. And when you see Pereira, he fights on center lines. So I like that matchup for the appeal of just X's and O's. And he also hits hard. So I do like that matchup. I think that's a good read.
I love the matchup. I think it would be a lot of fun to break down and just watch. But I have a really hard time just writing off Yuri. And I know that we've already done this twice. He's knocked out Yuri twice. But we have to look at the circumstances. They weren't clean fights. There was once he came off a long layoff with a shoulder injury, and then the second time was on 2 weeks' notice when Conor McGregor didn't show up and Yuri flew all the way across the world to kind of save the day. I don't feel like Yuri Prochazka's got a really fair shot at it yet, and I don't know that his performance tonight is going to be one that probably gets him a title shot, but he didn't look normal to me. We've seen two people fight Jamal Hill. He looked really clean, super precise versus Jamal, and he looked a little bit sloppy, his legs weren't quite under him. I don't know that we got the best version of Yuri tonight. And that's not saying that we will if he was to fight Alex a third time. I just don't know that he's got a fair shot at it, and that part of it bothers me.
He's 38 years old, okay? Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira are two of the biggest stars that we have in the sport right now. Tom Aspinall didn't get the fight against John Jones. I know that he's fighting to go on, but if he wins that fight, I wouldn't mind seeing a quick detour and seeing Alex Pereira go up just because I think he's a little bit bigger than the division itself right now. That's what I would like to see next, because then you can always go back to these other matchups. What do you think?
And thank you for saying that. I actually asked Dana this question yesterday. I just said, hey, listen, Dana, I know historically you're not a big fan of guys changing divisions, but we've seen it twice this year. We saw it with Ilia Topuria. We're about to see it with Islam. And Dana said, well, those make a little bit more sense. Those guys have really cleaned out the division. Listen, I'll give you the hot take of the night. I do not believe John Jones returns against Aspinall. I believe John Jones returns against Alex Pereira, and I'm standing by that.
We apologize for those technical difficulties. Here is is Dana White, and then we'll get to Dom and Anthony's thoughts on this.
He seemed to tease that maybe he was going to call for a John Jones fight, but then kind of pulled it back after learning about Arthur. Is him going to heavyweight something you would entertain at this point?
So today I was at work and had a bunch of meetings over there this afternoon, and I went over to the PI, and he was over in the PI. And I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me, we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about, heavyweight. And I don't know. I don't know. There's still fights here in this division, but we'll see. I mean, this guy has been an absolute stud for us. He's on vacation in Australia, flies over and fights because, somebody fell out. He fights when he's hurt. He doesn't care. He wants to fight everybody. He wants to move up to heavyweight. He's a dream to have in this organization.
Speaking of the other fights in this division, Carlos Ulberg was in attendance. He spoke with us backstage, and he said, he wants the title shot, but he's willing to fight anybody to get it. Yuri obviously also believed he deserves the next title shot. 2 great performances, I guess. Is that a Tuesday conversation, or do you already kind of know what's next for them?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things to talk about on Tuesday after tonight. Yeah.
So that clip, better when you can hear it. And when I listen to Dana White there, I don't get the sense that he wants to see heavyweight next. But I still do. What do you think, Dom?
Yeah, I like the John Jones fight, to be honest. I'm with Chael on this one, which is, pretty normal. Chael's pretty awesome. But in this particular fight, I just like it because you can see Pereira almost in the thoughts of it already by giving the kudos and the peace to that family. When you fight somebody, it's a very real, intimate thing. Like, you stay with that person for the rest of your life, whether you like him or not. And I think Pereira has it in his head that he wants to take on Jones. And Jones, I think, might give the shot after a call-out like that for his brother. And I think that could make it really happen.
I would love to see him at heavyweight. I'm really unconcerned with who. I think even if Cyril Gane happens to beat Tom Aspinall, I think that fight's actually stylistically more intriguing for me because they're 2 big strikers and very opposite styles. I also think that Ulberg versus Yuri would absolutely take all the questions out of who gets a title shot next. I think Ulberg might need one more big name, one signature win. I think a Yuri Prohaska would absolutely do that.
Yuri Ulberg and John Jones Aspinall.
You got John Jones gone. You got Aspinall. Why get cute with this? Alex Pereira, after what he just did, let's see it. Let's see him up at heavyweight. He can always go back down. And to Anthony's point, that's a fresh matchup there that we can see.
Bro, would they move him to heavyweight and not give him a title fight, though?
If it was John, I think if it was John.
I think so, too.
Any way you strike it, it's a great move to go up in heavyweight, and then, of course, he can drop back down to 205. It was a great night, of course, for Alex Pereira. He gets a performance of the night bonus. I already mentioned Yuri doubling up there with the fight of the night and the performance of the night, and then Joe Pyfer, hopefully he's giving some of that to our guy, Dean Thomas, who's usually up here. He was in the corner with Joe Pyfer. He gets the performance of the night.